Welcome back to episode 22 of the NAmen Podcast. I'm currently fiddling a lot with my hair because I need to get a haircut, but I'm here with two very special guests, and we're talking about, Superweek, the Lunar New Year party, fan experiences at the studios, and just general check-in. How is the LCS doing? We're finished with half of the first round robin here in spring, and yeah, it feels like it's a good time to see how things are going for fans and for all of the new stuff that LCS has started putting out this year. So yeah, I'm Arsh. Magical. You can go
Hi.
next.
Hi, Magical. Hi.
All
And
right.
I'm William.
Great. Nobody could have figured that out based on your names on screen right now.
No,
But we
no,
also
no,
do have audio
Damn.
listeners, so that's
Yep.
fine. That's actually makes sense. Right? You guys were introducing yourself the way.
Fine. You want me to actually introduce
Yeah.
myself?
Give me some
Okay.
spicy. Give me some spicy.
All right. I mean, if you want spicy, I could be like, I'm a living duck in a human body. I'm actually a wizard too. People don't realize this. So I was once a man, turned myself into duck, and then I somehow got turned back into a man. And now
I like that you
yell at video
clarified you're a
games.
living duck inside of a body instead of like a dead duck
Yeah.
or
yeah,
an inanimate duck.
Exactly. There are differences, just so people know.
True.
But yeah, I work for Riot on the NACL broadcast, so I do the Challengers League as one of the play-by-plays. I like to yell at video games.
And William.
Hello. As Arsh said, my name is William. I am the crackhead that is known to drive 5.5, 6 hours most weekends to go to the LCS studios from Phoenix, Arizona. I do lots of sign things, so if you see on the broadcast, most weekends you're probably going to see some goofy or weird
It's not on
banter
weekends
signs from me.
anymore. You drive up on
Yeah.
weekdays now.
You know what? Yeah, weekends or week. I said it again. Weekdays. I come
Weekdays.
up on the weekdays, and so I do lots of signs. I love taking Polaroids, so you may see my Polaroids on Twitter or somewhere. And yeah, that's pretty much a little bit about me.
Yeah. William is a C9 superfan. The C9 superfan even. Here at the studios at least. Very recognizable for his hashtag sign diff. Did you say C9 is 18-0 with you in attendance? Like at a live event?
Yes, at live events, C9 is 18-0. If you count best of threes, so technically it would be 19 and 1 because they did lose the one singular match against EG in the series and playoffs last year that I went to.
Mm-hmm.
But and I would like to say I predicted that series. I made a sign before I even went to the studios and predicted we were gonna 3-1 EG in the playoffs.
Oh.
And so yeah, I'm just a
Doesn't
prop over
count
here.
as a loss if you predicted the loss. That's what I always say.
No, see,
Yeah.
this just makes me think back to the days when it was the glory days when C9 were able to beat a Freak of Freaks in the quarterfinals and make it to the semifinals for the first time in
Yeah,
since the series
2018.
beginning. And I was on a podcast at the time. Why am I blanking on the name of the podcast right now? Oh, the Analyst Desk. That's right, with Amanda Stevens and Cole Gibson. And I was the Cloud9 superfan because at the time I was working with Cloud9 on their Academy broadcast, and so
On
I
their
was always
Academy
predicting.
broadcast?
Yeah, back when teams actually had Academy broadcast rights, and so I was the Cloud9 play-by-play caster. So other teams had their own broadcasts as well. I believe Desrex was on, and Joshi were both on Team Liquid. Kangas and Coco the Dragon were on Optic. And there are a couple others that I can't really remember off the
Wait,
top of my head.
this is such a different universe that I
Yeah,
know nothing
and
about. What?
You're learning a little bit. Oh god, there's a whole thing. I could go on for ages. The Cloud9 one too. It's like when we first started, we were in the garage of the team house for the broadcast, and it was in the middle of California
Dude,
summer.
that's what you guys were talking
So
about. I remember you talking about the
yeah,
Cloud9 Academy garage, and I was like, I didn't know you. I thought you just like were on the competitive side for a bit. I didn't realize.
no, that's how I worked with the Cloud9, and that's why I'm still close with a lot of the staff and also with some of the players that were around at the time, is because of the shared experience of that entire event, which was absolutely wild. And like I said, this blistering heat in a garage with no AC, casting League of Legends, getting excited about them as well, was quite a wild time. But now I'm getting off topic. Where
That
was
is
I?
crazy.
Oh yeah. On the podcast I was doing, predicted Cloud9 to win 3-0 and had like the whole way they would win too, saying like they're gonna just continue to draft the submarine comp and dive, and they did that all 3 games and won.
Was it like one of
Oh, yeah.
those meme segments where you're like, no, Cloud9 totally 3-0's this, guys?
It was, but I was actually dead serious at the same time.
Easy. You caveat it. You get it
Have
both
you seen that
ways.
series before, Arsh?
Huh?
Have you even seen that series before, Arsh?
I for sure haven't seen it, but I know about it.
Oh my, dude, that's
It's a
like
good one.
anytime I'm sad, I just pull that series up and I'm instantly feeling better. That's just, I probably watch that series every 3-4 months.
I mean,
It's
that
these new age
it's a good
LCS
one.
fans. They haven't seen anything. They
that
haven't seen the
is
older
literally like when I got stressed yesterday, or not yesterday, like a couple days ago for one of my midterms. I just started watching Caps montages of like his best
You
plays.
told
I
me
was
about
like,
this.
I was
I
like,
would've
damn, I
picked you
need
up
something
on
to watch.
Friday.
I need something to watch, but I don't want a show to watch because it's like stressful. Like watch new shit. Like I'm just gonna watch old Caps plays I've already seen that were sick. Very relaxing. I recommend it. It's actually really great.
That just reminds me of like way back. There's a YouTuber called CivHD that I used to watch back in like season 1, season 2. And whenever I'd get like in a bad mood for like just college days, I just go back and watch those games, like those videos, and they'd always make me laugh.
Yeah.
All right.
The,
Now that we're 6 minutes into this podcast about the LCS, let's talk about the LCS.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have in a roundabout way, haven't we?
Sure, we've
What
talked
is
about
the
LCS
LCS?
related things. So the main thing that just happened was the Lunar New Year party, which was held at the end of Superweek. So Friday night after the games ended, Riot had a big thing outside the studios where like anyone in attendance could go and whatever, participate and basically get free food and hang out with players, and teams had booths set up, whatever. The cool thing about it was we got a lot of nice pictures and like it looked really fun, but like a lot of people didn't go, so you guys both went, I went. We can kind of talk about what the cool parts of it were, what kind of stuff was happening. And yeah, so if you guys had anything fun that stood out to you, you can.
I'll let William. I want you to go first this time.
Okay, so there was so much to do there, and when I got home, I went straight from dinner after the thing and drove home, and I finally realized how many things that went on there that I didn't even get to see because there was so much.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even realize that Team Liquid had that little mini crane game to win one of the little blue plush, their mascot. I didn't even
was
grab
someone a
Boba
blue
because the
plushie?
line was
Oh,
so
it was a blue
yeah.
plushie, yeah.
Dude, I didn't even.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I didn't even get in line because I was like, that line's too long. I'll get in line later. It's probably not for
Same thing
anything
with
big.
Boba. I didn't
I
But
even
a
got
grab
blue
one.
Boba
plushie would have
for
been
so
so
long.
sick. Oh, I'm mad.
I know, right?
So yeah, I gotta play that one, but I already won a blue plushie from the previous tailgate.
Oh,
Well, I
jeez.
didn't win it. They gave it to me, so I
Ah,
got one from the previous one. So this one I played it, and Joshi really wanted one, and I told him that I'd play for him because he's like, I suck at these. He's like, is anyone good? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good at these. My first try, I get one. I'm like, here you go, Josh.
easy. Yeah, they also had. I was really loving the DJ. I just want to say shout out to that DJ. As somebody who I'm a big EDM like house music person, I like the vibes of the music. That guy did an amazing job with the music, and I was having so much fun at the C9 booth, dancing around with all the players, staff members, random people coming over to dance. It music is a great way to let people like express themselves and get out of their comfort zone and just kind of shake off the jitters of being there. And I thought that was a really cool
For sure.
little thing that was going on.
The vibes of the whole event were definitely brought up by the fact that the DJ was very good.
Yeah, 100%. I also had an amazing interaction with Solo. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a big Polaroid person, so I was going back and forth with every single person. I have like a Polaroid album that I do every year with 120 photos. So I went and got one with Chime, and then I talked with Solo for a second, asked him for a Polaroid, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I see you doing Polaroids here all the time. Like,
Oh,
you're the Polaroid guy." I'm like, "Oh yeah," and I guess he's been getting into doing like Polaroids and other things that are very similar. So we had like a 5-10 minute conversation asking me for tips on what he should do with them because he's like, I'm taking pictures, but I don't know what to do with them. I'm just
okay.
putting them on my desk, putting them somewhere. What do I do?
I have a question for you, William.
Yeah,
So with the Polaroids, are you supposed to shake them or no?
I like shaking them, and I like shaking as well. Like I shake my own body when I'm doing it too. I gotta dance it out.
Not only does he
'Cause
shake
I've
the
heard
Polaroids, he shakes
I've
that
heard
ass.
not to, but it's like I've always been told to shake it. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to.
I mean, you don't have to, but it. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure if you shake it, that it
I feel like this
makes
is
it
a question
develop
that Google
faster.
can answer.
But I'm not
Yeah.
sure. It's it's I've
Yeah,
always shook him,
yeah,
but
my instinct was correct, which is that like you shouldn't,
Oh,
because
really?
there's an off
oh,
chance that you could create unwanted bubbles or marks between some of the layers. Because if you think about it, why would you design a
mm,
like it's chemically, you know what I mean? It's so complex, like the paper
yeah,
that's printed on. It's like shaking it will only cause more problems because everything's designed to be done at a certain speed. So instinctively that makes sense, but also maybe the unwanted little imperfections, like they talk about that in film, like the little imperfections of like how it was recorded, actually add to its charm.
Mhm.
So like maybe
Well, I
a
was
shaken
kind of
Polaroid is
hoping.
more personality, you know?
Arsh, I was kind of hoping you were gonna say that's how like ghosts get in pictures.
That also, I
Like
mean, that could
you
be a
shake it and
you
it
ever
puts a
see the
ghost in
old
it.
picture? Yeah, you see the old pictures where there's the weird layering and it's like, oh, is it a
yeah. I mean
ghost?
that is not impossible, honestly. That is likely like a mistake in like how the Polaroid is developed and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
The
that would
biggest thing
definitely
is
make
the
sense.
weather, the temperature, because I had the problem Wednesday and Thursday. I tried taking Polaroids, and if it's too cold, it just will just go white. Like you won't even
Really?
it will just go full white and you can't see anything. Or it will do like whites around the edges and things. It's like I took a full one with the whole CLG team and it didn't work. It just came out full white. And so like the whole
Oh,
night during that party, I was going up to the heat lamps and just holding my Polaroid up near the heat lamps to make sure it stayed warm before I
It
took
was
pictures.
really cold there.
they
Like
I
must
was
have.
struggling.
I was bundled up because I knew that it'd be cold because you know LA, and I was like it's been cold a lot every night, so I'm just gonna go like super prepared. But I saw people in like half sleeves, and I was like that's a mistake because it is
Yeah.
cold. So what I'll say is like my favorite part of like walking around was like I mean the boots were all great from the different teams, like they had some really cool stuff, but I really liked the pro there were so many pro players just like floating at the
True,
event.
true.
So it was 100 in GGS last game. I didn't see GGS. I don't know if you guys did,
I did not.
but
No. I saw one player and that's it.
100
That was
Thieves
it.
took the 0-3 to the chin, and I talked about
Yeah.
this yesterday to like some friends, but like I thought it was so sick that that whole team came out after getting an 0-3 Super Week, a really tough last loss, and came out and met fans, took pictures, signed shot. I was like, holy shit! Like that was really impressive. I don't know if there's many teams that can go 0-3 on a Super Week, take a tough loss, especially when expectations are so high, you know, and you're a fan favorite
Right.
team, and then go out and take pictures with fans, meet fans, be nice, be like you know, help people make the experience memorable. Like that was really impressive for me. I really liked that they did that. And then TSM was also floating around until their car got broken into, which is insane.
Ugh, yeah,
Oh
that sucks.
yeah.
That is awful.
And who else was there? C9 and EG.
Mhm.
But yeah, I really enjoyed like you know they were all there. It's different like than when it's a meet and greet experience, and I think William, you can probably extrapolate this on this a bit more. It's like it's cool to have the pro players there, and um you can like talk to them like as a normal conversation, as opposed to like when you normally either see them doing interviews or you're like doing a meet and greet because it's not really a meet and greet, right? Like they're just wandering around an event that you're also at, and they're trying to
Yeah.
see stuff as well. So it's like you're just having a normal conversation with another person. I thought it was really sick. I got to talk to a bunch of pros who I like have either met before and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that um those were probably my favorite interactions of the night, like dancing around with Fudge, walking around with Sven. The funny thing is because the whole C9 team just calls me Sign Diff at this point. Like they call me William for a tiny bit when I first going so much. They like actually asked for my name and I said
Mhm,
William.
mhm.
But then they just call me Sign Diff now. And Fudge for like 5 or 6 people they wanted signatures. He said, "Okay, bend over," and he just used my back to sign people's stuff. And then he pat me on the back and say, "Oh, you're the goat. You're the goat." And then
Dude,
stuff like that is so
Fudge
funny.
told you to
It's like
bend over out of context is really funny. Several times
yeah,
that night, William got
Arsh,
told to bend
why?
over by Fudge.
Why?
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah,
It's I don't. There's no implication there. I didn't imply anything.
yeah. Nothing at all.
But yeah, no. I thought it was really fun. Magical. Did you have a favorite attraction of the
Oh,
night
me.
there?
Oh, definitely me.
You were your favorite
You
attraction.
were your favorite.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Magical found a mirror there, and he was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, exactly. I was just like,
Damn.
oh my god, look at that guy. What a ugly looking dude. Laugh at him. No. Let's see. My favorite thing. I there's a lot, honestly. I just like hanging out with people. I like talking with all the different players. Like a lot of the NACL guys were there as well. So hanging out with them, meeting up with a couple fans who recognize me and be like, hey, aren't you the Challengers guy? I'm like, hello, how's it going?
What's
And
bobbin'?
right, and
Yep.
like just talking with like I got to talk with Papa Smithy at some point. Just
Oh
had a
yeah,
good
he was
conversation
great.
with
Papa
him.
Smithy was at the Flyquest booth the entire time.
Yeah, he was, and it was great. Like I got to talk with Busio and Tenacity for a while as well. I caught up with Fudge as well, Blabber. Just went across the board. Like a lot of staff, I was talking about it before, how I'm still close with a lot of the C9 staff. So just hung out with them. That's why I like these events, just to see people I've known from the past and where they've moved on since in the esports world.
Yeah. I thought like so just like to kind of call out what kind of stuff was happening. FlyQuest had like a thing where you could make paper lanterns. There was a boba truck there. That's usually Immortals. I don't know if it was Immortals this time.
I don't think it was, because usually they have the Immortals flavor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then
Yeah,
it
I think it was
wasn't.
just LCS
LCS
brought
just got
the
boba.
boba truck.
Fair
That's what I
enough.
Yeah.
think it was.
There was like Dignitas had a little like you could spin a wheel and you could get a card for a player.
Got a plushie. I want a
Yeah,
plushie.
you could win a
Hey,
plushie
I
or
got one of those on my nightstand over there too. I love that thing.
Hey.
CLG. Okay, CLG. There was a chance of spinning a jersey. I wanted to win a jersey so bad, and it was like
I
1 in 40. I don't think anyone even did, but like
I saw someone.
I already have their jersey.
I saw someone.
I don't have any jerseys. Teams, if you're watching this, which none of you are, but if you're watching this, please send me a jersey. I don't have any
I tell
jersey.
teams all the time, I will wear that on broadcast, on the Challengers League broadcasts with no shame.
Dude,
If you
I
send
will
it to
I
me,
will
I
wear
will
it
wear
on
it.
the NAmen podcast. That's a
Yeah,
promise. If you guys send me
yeah.
a jersey, I will wear it on the NAmen podcast. So
I have no comment about
that's a reason to
jerseys.
send me a jersey.
I'm not opening that closet. I am not.
Oh my god, the amount of jerseys William has is like genuinely psychotic.
There's only one team in LCS that I don't have, and it's Golden Guardians, which I'll have soon. But I have like between Counter Strike and League of Legends, I have about 160 to 170
Holy
The
jerseys.
good news is with Golden Guardians, if you get this year's jersey, you'll also have gotten last year's jersey and the previous year's jersey and the previous year's jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, there is the one that I do want that's like the all blue with like their older logo with the.
Oh,
Yeah, from like
yeah,
2014.
yeah.
Yeah, you can get their
Yeah, I
2014
like that
jersey
one a
too.
lot.
It was like 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my bad.
It was like I think it was their first jersey when they entered franchising.
Yeah.
Ages ago. But yeah, no, I really wanted to. So most of the orgs had like some way to like, you could like TSM had a thing where you could like draw from a bunch of little envelopes that were like Lunar themed, and you could have a chance of winning like a keychain or a jersey or a shirt or a scarf or a beanie, whatever. That was pretty cool too. So like, every org had those kinds of little things where you could hang out. And I think a lot of people enjoyed doing that. I'm not much of a merchandise guy, so I was definitely more there for the experience, like the vibes, meeting a bunch of people who I knew, talking to people. That was really fun. I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts on that before we move on to another thing.
More events like that, please.
I agree.
True. Yes, 100%. And I think it also, as somebody who's gone to a lot of the tailgates and then also have gone to both of the after parties this year, I can 100% say the after parties feel so much better than the tailgates. The tailgates are cool and all, but what I always saw every tailgate was people come to the tailgate early, they get super hyped, they stay for like 1 or 2 games, or they stay until their favorite team plays, and then they dip. And like by like game 3, the studios is like pretty empty. There's like maybe less than 30 people in the studios, and it kind of feels bad because it's like LCS put on this whole thing. People show up, they go to the little before thing, and then they dip out.
Yeah,
And the after party incentivizes people to, like, if they buy a ticket, to come like stay throughout the day. And if you saw throughout in the studios, the studio was pretty full, pretty packed the entire day throughout.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect this to be the result of this, because I thought like, bro, no one is gonna be at these after parties. That's what I said. I was like, who
They're good.
who is showing up to an after party at like super late? Like I literally said, I was
That's
like,
prime
this is,
gaming time.
I was like,
That's-
it's so inconvenient for people, you know, like
Well,
I just
mean,
figured
it is Friday, so it's like
that's
'cause
true,
that's
right? Like
usually when they take place.
I just didn't think like, you know, because I'd already heard a bunch of team staff be like a little upset that they had to stay like so their days had gotten so late and all this stuff. I was like, you know, I just didn't think the idea honestly had that much merit. Like I genuinely just thought like it wouldn't work out that well. And I'm very glad I was wrong, right? Like they've done all this cool stuff with it. And they've made
I like them to expand it, honestly.
Yeah.
I think they could expand it and do even more.
Yeah, I agree. I think the idea is really, really sick, and it's really nice that they're experimenting with all this stuff. So it's one of the side effects of this experiment that I think has been just like straight up good, like a net just like all good, because like time change and all that has been a little bit wonky for people. But the after parties for sure have been a highlight. Both of them so far have been really nice. It replicates how I imagine like spring finals, summer finals kind of feel. Where like you get to meet all these people.
There's
There's
like
a lot more to
smaller
do.
capacity.
Yeah, in like a much
Yeah.
smaller way. But
I feel like you meet more people you meet way more people than you do at the finals.
Because it's
what do they
just
call
so
them?
overwhelming, right? When it's a
Oh yeah,
finals.
there's
Yeah.
so many people there at the finals that it's like you go if a team has like a booth with like one or two players for a meet and greet, there's hundreds of people lined up ready for this. So it's like you have to be picky, choosy on what you want to go to, like at the spring or summer finals, on which teams you want to go visit. Where here it's like you got 2 hours, you can hit everything and still hang out, eat food, do whatever.
yeah, and have your own time to yourself. I think it's
Yeah.
a really good. It's been a really good experiment. So, speaking of the new changes this year, um, the time changes have been pretty time and date changes have been pretty controversial. Like they've moved around one way or another. What have you guys thought now that we're into week 4? What do you think about how specifically LCS? I know Magical, you're probably loving the NACL weekend times, but if you were to isolate yourself from that and just look at like how it's been for LCS with this new time slot, this new format, all this stuff.
So
What do you
this
think?
actually might be a weird one. I actually liked it when NACL was on the weekdays.
Oh,
But
interesting.
I think it was more just because then I had weekends free.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like,
Yeah,
I could
fair.
hang out with friends and stuff like that. I mean, for viewership, my goodness, it makes us look great. And so, as like that side of it, I'm like, yeah, weekends are amazing. Everything is up. Like we're consistently like the top, like looking like the best growing league, even though we're like just the league that feeds into the LCS, which is great, and also helps us show off more of these stories to a lot more fans. But I would even argue that like LCS these days have been a little bit more favorable to them, especially the Fridays. I think the Friday days have actually been a lot better for them because usually what happens, like, especially like if you think Saturday, Sunday, during most of the days, a lot of people will kind of go out and do other things during the day when games would take place. So you actually would see a drop in viewership generally. But
Yeah.
having them a little bit later as well as on a Friday when people are like, well, I don't want to do anything anyways, or it's like this is perfect to do before I go out and like go do an activity on a Friday. It kind of just
Yeah,
works out
Friday
really
night
well
is
for
either a
them.
late night thing, like way after you're
Mhm.
back from work. There's usually a big gap there. That's why I
Yeah,
thought the
exactly.
weekday
LCS
timings
fits
had
that.
merit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
the Thursdays are a little tricky just because it's Thursday, but I think as people get more used to it, I think they just need to put a little bit more marketing behind like that, especially like for Super Week for
for sure.
Wednesday. So let people know like, hey, it's gonna be on Wednesday this week too. Let's really hype this up, so that way more people can get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. Like, I mean, obviously, I was going to the studio, so I knew it was on a Wednesday, but I knew so many of my friends who thought that the Super Weeks were Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and there's not much communication on that
No,
aspect.
they
And
said
I
it's a
definitely
Wednesday and
think
they tweeted that it's on Wednesdays. That's like pretty much
They
all they have to
did,
do.
but they said, and they did say that, but I think they should put more.
Yes, I agree.
I,
I was being sarcastic.
Yeah.
They definitely
Yeah.
should have done more, and I think they're definitely aware of that. It was definitely a little tongue in cheek when the broadcast announcer was like, "Guys, it's on Wednesday. Nobody knows, but it's on Wednesday." It's like, they only have so much
Yeah.
power. They can only say on
Well,
broadcast.
on the Challengers League too, we also said that on that Monday. We're like, hey, don't forget LCS this Wednesday. It's a Wednesday. You can watch Wednesday.
Yeah, come on Wednesday. Wednesday. Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely like as far as attendance wise, Arsh, I know you were there with me Wednesday, but like it definitely was quite empty Wednesday and
Oh,
Thursday.
for sure. In
Like
the real life studio audience for sure has suffered because of this change. I wanted to talk about
yeah,
that.
like Wednesday is uh actually I think I saw less people there Thursday than I did Wednesday, which I thought was crazy to me.
Wait,
That I
really?
was like I would expect, yeah, I definitely
I
felt
I
wasn't
like
wasn't
there
there
I didn't
Thursday.
I didn't get any pictures of it, but Thursday just it was pretty much probably like 10, not 10 or less people, but 10 people less than Wednesday, and there was maybe what 40, 50
There were
tops there
yeah,
Wednesday.
there was probably 50 people, 60 people Wednesday. Which
By the
sounds like
end
a
it was
lot.
definitely a lot lower.
It 50 to 60 sounds like a lot, but like you have to consider that this audience probably has capacity for around 200.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So out of that, like a fourth of the audience, and it's not like the fourth all sits together at the front and we're like all friends. It's like a fourth of the
Yeah.
audience is spread across the entire place. Like this, all
Yeah.
200 seats. You know what I mean? It does feel quite sparse. Unless there is something like the after party, in which case GG 100 Thieves had the biggest audience I've seen this year at the LCS Studios, or at the Riot Games Arena.
Yeah.
Because like it was right before the after party, and as soon as they were like, "Okay, guys, the lion dance is over. After party starting soon," everyone was like, "Let's go!" and rushed out of their seats and like got ready.
I
Like,
know it got crazy. I'm kind of a little mad at myself. I stayed outside and was like, "Oh, 100 Thieves GGS, whatever." Like I was already outside. I was helping at the C9 booth setup, but like some of the lights, and I was just hanging out, talking with Bobby and talking with some people. And then we were watching this game on the phone, on Bobby's phone, and we're like, "Oh my!" I'm like sitting there like I should have just went inside and watched the game. It's all good.
yeah, because you
I
can't
did
you
the same
can't
thing
then
at
be like,
quarters.
"Actually, guys, I'm gonna go inside and watch the
Right.
I did the
game."
same thing at quarters at Worlds. I went to the first 3 days of quarters, and my friends really wanted to go do other stuff. So I was like, okay, fine, we'll skip the DRX. I forget whoever it was, DRX somebody, and then that was the game with the deft 1 HP.
Backdoor.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was like, oh my,
oh
I was
my
like,
god.
why didn't I go to the fourth day?
Oh,
Getting to see that in
unfortunate.
real life would be insane. Narrowly not getting to see that in real life would be more insane.
Yeah, feels bad.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought that like generally this time format in terms of real life audience has gone exactly the way I thought it would, which is like a lot of rioters are in them seats.
I
Yep.
mean, I'll even make the argument here that the more important thing is how many views you get on Twitch, right? It's
For
like
sure.
how many people are watching there online, because that's the whole thing with an esport is it's more universal that everyone could watch like these teams from all over the place as
Yeah.
opposed to just having to go to the stadium. And usually the people who go to the arena, and this God, the arena is gonna kill me just to like if for those that are Ducks fans, like Anaheim Ducks in hockey, it used to be called the Pond, their arena, and now it's called the Honda Center. It took me years just to say Honda Center and not the Pond. Like this is gonna be the same thing with the LCS Studios to the Riot Games Arena.
I think I'm gonna keep calling the LCS Studios till I die.
Uh,
Riot
It's
can
Same.
come
just
take
one
the
of those
LCS
things. It's gonna
Studios from
take
my
me a while.
cold dead hands.
It's gonna take me a long time to get used to that. But anyways, the point I was making was that you're only really getting people who are local to LA anyways going into the studio. So it's more important about gaining viewership online.
That's fair, but I think, and some Rohan and Shah also pointed this out, like the vibe of the in-person audience and having a packed audience, like the LEC studio is really small compared to the LCS studio, and you can feel that when the audience is packed at LCS, it is loud when something
yeah, it
crazy
is.
happens, and you can feel it on broadcast.
My
Like you can
bad.
really feel
I
how
was like, just get me, Steve, Mazel,
That's
Rex
true.
there in the crowd again, then
If
we'll be
Kangas
good.
is there, he will whip 40 people into sounding just as loud.
Mm.
And I think,
That Wednesday CLG hype squad was pretty fun.
oh yeah, and then
That was fun.
We
they
had a great time.
big dokes, big pokes, big croaks, big smokes.
Big blokes.
True. He had GP on Friday, and I was so sad because you guys weren't there. And I was like, if you were there, we could do big pokes
Oh,
because he
we
was
could've,
poking
yeah.
people. Anyways, off topic, but yeah, I think Jeff definitely want to wait through. One thing I did notice is that like for the first time, a Flyquest game is going to be at the end of the day, in week 6, and that that
That schedule.
looks like a really interesting way to measure like that day's schedule. I think it's a Thursday or something, week 6, I think. Point being, like there's a day coming up where the schedule looks a little different. So I like that there is a couple days where they're flipping the schedule around a little bit to try and see how things will play out, how viewership will play out. If you don't have the best match at the beginning necessarily, if you move it around a little bit. And I think that's great. I think it's really nice to keep experimenting, because one of my fears was that like once they got this, they would be like, well, even if you guys don't like it, we're stuck with it. But
Yeah.
like I think they've really taken into account, even on a week by week basis, like things at studio, things on broadcast. So I've been liking it.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking off of that, I know for me, it definitely sucked having Golden Guardians. They played the last game all 3 days of Super Week,
Oh, true.
which kind of feels bad as from the staff perspective and player perspective and a fan perspective, because at least there's some variety in it where like if somebody's a Golden Guardians fan and they have work at that specific time, they could maybe get 1 or 2 of the games in that week because they're earlier in the day. Maybe one's earlier, one's later, or whatever. And I know personally
Yeah.
for me, I skipped 2 Golden Guardians games this week, so I feel like a big doofus for
Oh, you can
walking out
curse.
the
I
studios
don't think we
early
have a explicit filter on this, but
Oh, okay.
so I think the way I would say this is like, I think it doesn't apply for GGS. I think we actually got quite lucky that the last game was GGS all 3 days, because turns out GGS is a top 5 team, which I've been saying for a week now that GGS just saying. I said that GGS is a top 5 team for a while. But GGS is playing really well right now. So them being the last game has actually been fine because they're really interesting to watch. But let's say, and this is not to say like Dignitas is boring to watch, but Dignitas is more boring to watch than the other 9 teams, the LCS probably. So if Dignitas was the last game every day, and let's say someone gets off of work, gets off of school at that time, which probably they won't because like that's late, but point being, then they can only watch Dignitas games every day. You know what I mean? And it is a good point that like it is a good point that like if you put the same game at the end or the same team at the end over and over, or the same teams at different times of day, like Flyquest has been game 1 or 2 every day. Like I think since the start of the LCS. If someone gets off of school after that, that's a huge Flyquest fan. They can just never watch a Flyquest game live. Which like
And I'm always in the opinion that you put your best games at the end, right? Because you want the best games to be the ones that cap it off, that you're getting everyone to slowly trickle in until those final games, and that's when like you get that peak viewership, right?
It's just
So
been a
that
great time. So
you're
happy
not
to
only
be
just
here, happy to be on the
gaining
call.
viewers the whole day, but you're retaining them too.
Just for people listening, that was definitely the Path to LCS stream that just opened itself up like a virus on my
Nice.
Chrome tab.
Hey, everyone, make sure you're watching at twitch.tv/challengersleague or at twitch.tv/path to LCS.
The games have been bangers
Hashtag ad.
lately. There have been some
I'm sad
serious,
I'm
insane bangers.
sad because I'm not casting this weekend. I'm just hosting, and I'm like, I want to cast them. They're so good.
Yeah, the games, but they'll continue to be bangers. NACL, genuinely, the glow up on the competitive side has been so sick for NACL this year. I think the new format is doing it wonders.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, that's another episode. Upcoming NACL special number 3. I don't. Maybe we'll just stop calling them NACL specials because we just like talking about NACL. And this isn't an LCS podcast, NAmen Podcast. So I don't know, but
piggybacking
we're gonna talk about
piggybacking
NACL
off
soon.
of what Magical was talking about. Cloud9, they play 2 games where they're or 2 fourth games of the day. They don't play any 5th games of the day. every game is 1, 2, and 3, and they have 2 fourth, and they just played one of them. So it's literally in the whole rest of the year, they only play one more game where they're the fourth, and it's like that feels bad for like I have plenty of friends who are working until 6, 7 o'clock
Yeah,
or
let's
on
say like
different time
5
zones,
5
and they
PST
haven't
is
been able to see a
perfect, right?
single C9 game
Yeah,
this
5
whole
PST
split.
is a great example. 5 PST is when the third game should start. It's 2, 3, 4. No, the fourth game should start at 5 PST,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
only 2 games out of 18 will someone who gets off at 5, works a 9 to 5, will get to watch a C9 game live for the entire spring split.
Yep.
So I think there's definitely, I don't know if you should change it every day, like when the games are where they are. Personally, I think last games are just better as the most hyped games, but Riot has their own statistics. I just hope that they're looking at it, and from speaking to a bunch of different people, it's something that they're interested in keeping track of, and something that they want to improve if there is space to improve in their opinion. So I'm hoping that they take a look at it and they find something that helps us get better viewership and get more eyes on different teams, because I think, honestly, this is a great sort of LCS, which transitions us nicely into the Super Week recap and where we are in the LCS right now. So I don't know if you guys have them pulled up, but you can pull up the standings right now if you don't know them off the top of your head.
All I know is my team's great.
All I know is 100 Thieves, who I was rooting for, is not doing well after going 0-3. I'll tell you that. I don't know. Do you guys have any immediate standouts that you want to jump at? Otherwise, I'll give you. You can talk about C9, William. Just go talk about C9.
No, I was, and ironically, as the C9 super fan, I was going to talk about TSM and Golden Guardians.
Okay, I was
Me
gonna
talking about TSM is pretty weird.
Yeah, see,
but
I was gonna force you guys to talk about TSM Golden Guardians. I would love to start with TSM Golden Guardians. Go ahead.
Like TSM and Golden Guardians have very, very highly exceeded my expectations this split. Obviously, for TSM,
Wait, so
a
just
lot
to be
of the
clear,
players
both
were-
of these teams are tied fourth right now behind
Yes.
Flyquest, EG, and C9.
Yes.
Which is way above where anyone's expecting. 100 Thieves and TL are below these teams. CLG and Dignitas.
I'll say this: TSM's almost about where I put them.
Damn, Giga Chad magical.
Yeah, but I was
Predicted it before the
definitely
season.
completely wrong with Golden Guardian. So you take them, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. But TSM, like they've just Solo has been playing so solidly. I mean, I feel like he's always played solidly, but he just for some reason he'll play good on a team, play decent on a team, do his job, and then like a team drops him. So I'm super happy that I feel like he's found a place.
You can
like,
speak up a little bit, William.
Solid. He's found like a solid place on TSM, and he's been there for a while. And just Chime, obviously it's Chime. He's been playing super good, been playing great. And Golden Guardians, I mean, do we have to say anything about they got Player of the Week this week? Like, if you're someone who doesn't watch LCS that much and you go look on Twitter and you see that a Golden Guardians player got Player of the Week for a Super Week, you're like, what?
You're
You're
like,
probably going to pull up
bro.
LO Esports instantly and be like, what is going on in the LCS? Is it burning down?
Stixay
Did
has not
somebody-
died in 5 games, by the way. They're on a 5-game
crazy.
win streak, and in all 5 games, Stixay is deathless. I don't think
That's
Stixay's played
crazy.
perfect by any means in those games, but he did play better than Doublelift, I'll tell you that. So, as far as the number 3 ADC in the league...
6A is, in my opinion, the best player on that team. Just gonna put that out
Ooh.
there. This is something I've thought even back when he had to sub in for Golden Guardians Academy when they were waiting for Violet. He was the best performing player on that team when he was a part of the academy by a country mile, and he was probably the best performing player in the entire league at that point. And he was only meant to be a sub as the coach. And so I'm like, okay, this guy needs to be back in LCS.
That is really funny. If you guys don't know the context, Stixay was like a positional coach.
Yes.
For ADC for Golden Guardians, and he was subbing in because they were having some problems both on the LCS stage and the Academy stage at different points.
It was also visa issues.
Issues, that's what it was.
It was visa issues for the academy. It was all performance issues for the stage.
Right.
But Stixay was definitely like way too good, and it was like, why is this guy a coach and not a player?
Positional coach is not where you put that kind of performance.
No. And so seeing him back on the team, I'm like, yeah, this guy's about to smurf it again, isn't he? And yeah, he's had a couple iffy performances, but his highs greatly outweigh his lows right now.
100%.
I think honestly, like, I'm saying he's not a perfect, like, he's not playing perfect because, like, the mold we're putting him against is Berserker and Prince. Just so we're clear for people listening, we are putting Stixay up against Berserker and Prince and going, maybe.
Yeah, like, I'm
Like,
not gonna say it's like I'm not gonna be like oh yeah, like totally equal. It's like maybe, you know.
like
I
In
can
a
see an
world,
argument.
in a world,
imagine,
yeah.
imagine people would laugh you out of the room if last year you went, yeah, no, next year actually a big part of it's gonna be that like, Berserker and Prince, their main challenge, is gonna be Stixay. People are gonna really think that
I mean,
Stixay's up there alongside them. People will be like,
I
what?
wouldn't say main challenge. I mean main challenge in the sense of only
I
challenge,
think,
but
yeah, I think that Berserk, like I think Doublelift was very good before the Super Week, and I think you can call 3 games in a row inconsistent, or you can call it BO1s. Either way,
I
but
mean, it's
like,
also the reason why I'm saying this is not because I'm trying to discredit anyone as an AD carry. Prince and Berserker are just that much above everyone,
I
in
agree.
my opinion.
I agree with that. What
Yeah.
what I meant more was like, I think that like the only two others that you would say is like Yon, who's been really good in lane, but then really not great outside of lane in team fighting and mid game macro and stuff, and then Doublelift, who was really good for 6 games and now has had 3 um not great games in a row. So I think you can go either way, but my point is like I think Stixay is the most all around. Like 5 games in a row, he's just been smashing it, like playing really really well. So if you're gonna say anyone else is up there on the podium with Prince Berserker, it's Stixay right now, pretty
Yeah.
cleanly.
Oh, I mean, I'd also put an argument out for Luger. Like, I think
Ooh,
Luger is
CLG's a
highly.
good place we can go to next. We kind of already
Yeah.
covered TSM and GGS. Tell me about CLG Magical.
I mean, let's just talk about Luger especially. I think Luger, like, I like CLG, which is funny because I don't like to agree with Kangas, but this team is great. And I love what
Based.
uh, it's
Poor
Steve. I
guy.
always haha bald. Just had to get that joke out there. But I love Steve. It's just one of those things we always have to try to argue with them. But CLG is a great team, and I love Jonathan, who's put this team together for them. And
Yeah.
every aspect of it is like why I like the team because it's like promotion of developmental aspects, but also trying to utilize players that are on redemption arcs. You got great young talent, but you mix that in with some veterans who've shown that they're still great players like Dokla and Contracts. But Luger's the player that I think, even though Big Dokes, you gotta scream that out every time you're in the crowd.
Big
Luger is
Dokes.
the
Yep.
best player on that team. And Luger, I think, is one of the best AD carries in the league. Like, and he is the one I probably would argue is the because I said Stixay could be considered a main challenger. I feel like it's Luger and Stixay that are battling to see who can challenge both Prince and Berserker. Because I think Luger, like, you look at his mechanics and how he plays both team fights and lane phase, he is just on another level in his positioning and how he looks for certain trades. And this is why, like, I will always sing the praises of Luger. And this is some stuff we saw when he was on 100 Thieves Academy with Poom beforehand. It was this exact strength. Why that 100 Thieves Academy roster was so good was because of Luger and Poom. It wasn't because of anybody else being brought in. As much as I'd love to say that, it was Luger and Poom being so much better than anybody that like nobody could touch them.
Yeah, I think. I think Lure and Poom were. I think maybe left a bad taste in my mouth after their summer playoffs performance, especially where like Luger had that Zeri game, the infamous Zeri
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think-
everyone's got one, right?
Yeah, I think that generally like Luger objectively has been impressive, and like I don't know, maybe I'm just struggling to give him credit for that, but I don't know, maybe it's just like CLG has been so. I feel like CLG has honestly been kind of lucky in a lot of the games that they've won. Like
Or
the
could you
Aurelia
say
game.
that they're counter logic.
Yeah, their wins have been very counter logic. I would agree with that. They have been confusing. Like there was, the Aurelia game, I can't remember who broke it down, but someone looked at like the Aurelia play, which like Doklo's pop off, where he just like wipes him at the Drake fight. We were all screaming in the audience. Look back at
Oh,
that
yeah.
replay, and Summit just like lets him walk past
Yeah.
and jumps on the enemy like Nami or whatever it was. And it's like, what? And it's like, yeah, like CLG, like Dokla played it right. He walked at the back line and then killed them. And like his mechanics were insane. Don't get me wrong, Dokla's cracked. But Summit gave him an opportunity that like I expect they should not receive normally. And that kind of thing I feel like has happened a lot for CLG. So maybe it's just because like CLG has seemed so inconsistent for me that I am not giving Luger credit. And so I think it's fair that like, you know, on paper Luger is just insane. I can't remember which player it was. One of the ADCs that was being interviewed. I think maybe FEI when he did his tier list of ADCs at some point this week said like
You put him in A, right?
yeah, he gave Luger a lot of credit. That like casters were, you know, or like casters, broadcast talent and stuff were talking about a lot with him, which was like he said that Luger is very good, and he said like Luger's elo held by team. So I was like, you know what, fair enough. Listen, I'm not a very good analyst of the game, so I just like to see what players tell me about other players, and I'm like, all right, this guy said they're good, so at least, you know, for this guy to think they're good, they must be good, right? It's to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely fair to say that about Luger. Do we have any final standouts from the standings or not? Because I have one.
Do
team
we
that I wanna
touch
talk about.
Dignitas or no?
We have to.
Hmm.
I would rather.
Nah.
I would
They're
rather
about
wait
where
to
I
see.
expected.
I think this is also sometimes where you see the mid-split roster changes. So
That's what I brought up
if-
earlier today.
if that does happen, and I don't know if Dignitas is going to do that, but they could. So if they do that, I don't want to talk about the roster and then like have it change.
I
I
can
think
just
they
say even
probably should.
watching the draft phase from the studio, like I'm someone who like watches people's facial expressions throughout the game. Like I love watching like players' facial expressions and stuff. Watching draft and seeing Armut's face during draft on the Thursday game,
What happened?
it just seemed like it was already like done. Like when Golden Guardians locked in Lee Sin, he like rolled his eyes a little bit and just kind of like a little like shaking of his head. Like it kind of just looked annoyed
By the way,
at the
the
Lee
reason
Sin
William
pick.
knows this is something. This might not be something you know if you haven't been to the studio, but with the new studio renovations, now at all times throughout the whole game and throughout the entire draft phase, on the sides of the stage, they have every player cam. If I can like, they have every player cam stacked like this, so we can see them at all times.
Yeah.
Which has actually been pretty cool because like, you know, let's say it's a team fight going on and something crazy happens, you can actually like look over and like see the player pop off even if they don't show it in the replay. Or
Yeah.
like the little like, you know, some of the more experienced players do that thing where they win and they're like, and you all alone.
Yeah.
And
My,
there's-
my
where I
favorite
was
sorry. My favorite though was Palafox's when Dokla had the play.
Oh yeah, that was so funny. Yeah, that was great.
I love
But I was sitting in like the
unironic
bottom
Podface's
right,
base.
and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
able to see. I wasn't looking at the camera. I was able to just see where the whole CLG hype squad was, right below the
Yeah, right below the
caster's
caster
booth.
box.
I was able to see straight to Armut's face during the draft. Because one thing that I have noticed and is the cameras are on real time in the studios, and the players are like a few seconds ahead of what like the stream, what we see on the actual
Yeah.
broadcast up top. So a lot of times you could tell when a team fight's happening by, you hear someone screaming, go in, or something.
go,
Like,
go, go,
okay,
go."
I'm paying attention now. I'm getting off my phone.
Yeah.
So I saw his facial expression do that while they were in draft, and I was like, oh man, they don't look like they're having a fun time with that Lee Sin pick that just got
To be
just got
fair,
picked
like
through.
it's hard to have a fun time when you're 0-9
Oh,
on a team like
100%.
this with this roster. Like I don't envy these players, and I said we won't touch on it, but like, and we won't, but like I feel really bad for these players. I really do like them.
Yeah.
I hope that whatever happens, their careers are untarnished after this period of their careers. I will say that. Anyways, the team that I wanted to talk about, because 100 Thieves went 0-3, TL kind of bombed out. Flyquest dropped a game to TSM, right? Which now everyone's like, okay, TSM genuinely might be, easily a playoffs contender. Is
I'll say that.
Flyquest washed? Is my question.
Oh no.
Okay.
Is
Arsh.
Flyquest bad?
No.
And my answer is no. But I wanted to present the clickbait.
Yeah, you gotta get the clickbait
Yeah,
out there.
the
but,
clickbait up.
It-
49 minutes into the episode.
it's the thing is, it's not even like is Flyquest bad. It's the argument of like is TSM good, and my answer like I put them top 6 going into the season. I'm like, don't underestimate this team. They're
Yeah,
gonna get wins that people don't expect them to, and
I
they already have
genuinely
done
I
so.
didn't expect this. I had Gordon Guardians popping up, but I like FlyQuest played exactly how I expected. I think this is a sort of I don't think this is a reality check for FlyQuest because as like and I think I can talk about this. Like speaking with Papa Smithy and you know, Speaka even said this in interviews, which I'm comfortable talking about this, which is like they didn't think that they were an 18-0 team. And they said that very publicly. Right? Like Speaka said that and Papa Smithy said that when I spoke to him. Like, you know, this team was not dominating scrims the way we heard about like G2 in 2019, where it was just like, yeah, Wonder just picked like fucking whatever. He literally rolled random on a champion and then just won the game anyway. Like, like 2019 G2, you would hear stuff like that, right? Like, oh yeah,
that
all
was
5 of them
great.
just literally picked, they switched roles. All 5 of them switched roles and they won the game. Like, they could have done anything. And that's what an 18-0 like level team looks like. And FlyQuest was not rumored to be that, and FlyQuest didn't claim to be that publicly. So I don't think this is like a crash to earth. It's something that like people haven't really talked about. This is more just like returning the record to reality, right? Like 18-0 requires a level of perfection and dominance to where like you won't ever drop a game to a bad team because you mess up, because you lose focus, because you're that much better. Because even when you lose focus, you're better, right? That requires an insane level of dominance. Like Magical, I'm sure you can elaborate on this more, but like the gap between NACL and LCS isn't so big that like any given LCS team could 18-0, let's say, any like the NACL teams. I think like for example, FlyQuest would 18-0 a middle of the pack NACL team.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Right? But I think like that's where like you have that gap, right? That massive gap. I don't think FlyQuest ever had that big of a gap. The kind of gap where you could go 18-0 against the other people in the LCS, so which is why I didn't find this that surprising.
yeah.
Right? Like
Not against the LCS, like for most of the LCS, like sadly.
yeah, of
Dignitas,
course,
I
right?
feel
Like yes,
is one of
I
those
guess.
teams, it's like,
I think if FlyQuest were 18 games against Dignitas, they win 19 games, right? Like that.
Yeah.
They
Wait, if they play 18, they win 19? Wow, that's impressive.
that was the joke.
Damn.
Yes, I'm glad
They
you
just
caught
got a
that.
free win.
It was a little clever up there, but
Yeah, and you know the point of a joke is to like spell it out because that makes
yeah,
it
yeah.
funny.
No, it actually makes it really funny. Actually,
Yeah.
when you subtitle it, you actually put like joke in parentheses, just so people know.
Yeah, you got to make sure people know.
I'll actually put a timestamp and it just says joke, so just so people realize like, oh shit, there's a joke here.
This is the moment.
This is where the joke is. No, but so I think one of the best parts for me is like, the fact that like we are proving that the split is so competitive. Because like FlyQuest is the best, but they're not the best by that much. Not if TSM can take a solid game off them. Even if TSM is actually 4th place. A 4th place team being able to take a solid game of FlyQuest means this is a good race. So I'm really excited for LCS. And now,
I also
53
think it
minutes
takes-
in. Okay, wait, go ahead.
I think I'm under the opinion that it takes a lot of stress off of FlyQuest losing that first game. Because sometimes I feel like if I was a player and I'm already at 6-0, 7-0, you've already got that in the back of your head of like, hey, we could actually like, we're almost halfway there to getting a perfect split.
Yep.
And everyone's talking about you so much as being like the best team. You get that loss out of the way. Yeah, it sucks. No one wants to lose. But now people will stop
Pressure's off.
putting pressure on you. And I feel like it will make FlyQuest play better. And it will
Especially
make
younger,
them,
like Winsome, but right now, it does not look like Hela is getting back anytime soon because of the U.S. government.
It's unfortunate.
But like, you know, so Winsome's ability to like, you know, hold the pressure down because he is the youngest, least experienced player on this team, you know, that can help a lot, right? 17-1 is 100 times easier than 18-0. But yeah, so now as we start to wrap up, I wanted to talk about something. I put QT in the thumbnail because like it's a general summation of like, of like, you know, how the LCS has been changing, the Superweek, you know, QT was the guest. I just wanted to quickly do like a little, we do like sometimes like simp rant pieces at the end.
Wait,
where, like,
wait, we're talking about Kitty, like the
QT,
LPL caster?
QTCinderella.
QT.
Okay, I thought you said
QT.
Kitty, because I was like, my mom's name is Kitty, and Kitty, the LPL caster, always gets me confused, because that's my mom's name, and I'm like, Wait, what? What?
No, Cutie, because Cutie was the guest on Friday, right?
Gotcha.
So yeah, they've been doing a bunch of both Super Weeks have featured her as a guest in the SS. So normally
She's
we
been
do
awesome.
like we sometimes
Yeah.
give space for like a simp segment where like I'll just talk about caps for like 2 minutes at the end, or like Elaine will talk about JoJo and Inspired, or like
I thought you did that
Delphi
on
will
your
talk about
car ride
Crusader.
to the LCS when I picked you
Yeah,
up.
so this time I want to use that segment to instead talk about how fucking good QTCinderella is on broadcast. And that's the reason I put her in the thumbnail, because like, dude, the level of entertainment, I think maybe it's like it's partially being a streamer, but I don't think all streamers can do it. I think Cutie generally like has a
Definitely not all
skill
streamers can do it.
for this, like, because the streamer bit comes in where she's so fast, which is I think something that a lot of people on broadcast don't have, right? Like the very quick reaction to stimulus, being clever on the spot. But she's also just like she's all these skills, and she can be like clever. She can do cake stuff. She had the fudge hickey bit on on
Oh
the
god.
on the broadcast, which I thought was so funny, and I talked to Fudge about, and he was not mad about. He thought it was funny, and I thought like it was so funny, right? Like those kinds of things. I don't think the broadcast would normally be able to make like. What I'm trying to say is like her being on the broadcast brought something to it where it was like it felt genuinely different, felt new, and felt like something that other people could not do on broadcast that she can consistently.
It brought personality.
True.
She is a good personality.
Great
And
personality.
that's like I got to meet her for the first time last year at the summer finals.
Yeah.
Because I was working on the Grubhub event and she was participating in it. And so I got to hang out with her and a bunch of all the different streamers and stuff behind the scenes. And we got rained out for a while, so that was also kind of a wild story where it's like
Yeah.
we're all prepared and then we get locked in this trailer while it's pouring buckets outside, equipment's getting ruined, and we're just stuck in this trailer all together. Like, I guess we're just gonna be here for a while. So we gotta get to know them. And QTCinderella is a great personality. She was a lot of fun just to talk to in general. And you can tell the excitement she just has when it comes to League of Legends, even though she's like, I'm not very good at it, but I love it. I love talking about it.
She
love the
just
esports
like
side.
me for real.
And like, so when I saw that they were bringing her on, like back in the first week when they did the first event with her, I'm like, great. She's a great personality, and she crushed it during that time. So then I'm like, all right, they've got to bring her back. And we didn't hear anything for a bit. I'm like, okay, come on, you got to get
Yeah.
her back on. She was way too good not to. So then seeing that she got brought back for this event, I was really happy to see. And again, now I'm hoping for the next event. When is the next time she's coming back?
Yep.
Super week 8.
Like, listen,
maybe?
I like a lot of Cutie stuff outside of this. Otherwise, I would just tell LCS to hire her. Cause
Yeah.
like, bro, it was genuinely like when I'm at studios, honestly, like I love the segments between broadcasts, but it's really hard to like sit there between the segments and like not go outside for the meet and greets or like whatever's happening between games. I sat and watched Cutie's like segments between games because I was like genuinely enjoying them more than I would a potential meet and greet or like stretching my legs, charging my phone, like because
Dude,
it was genuinely
Arsh,
great.
you would love my between segments, but they won't let me do half the things, like 90% of the things I want to do. Like,
That
it has to relate to the league. Oh, it's got to relate
That's
to
a
the
shame.
players. You can't just go on there dressed as a duck.
this
No.
is the
I mean,
duck
I
thing
came on the
again?
podcast looking like a duck. I mean,
True.
Right.
You guys are both duck themed today.
Yeah.
I'm just ducking in general.
True and based.
All right, we're starting at the end. I'm gonna give you guys both opportunities to remind everyone where you are, where they can find you, and a little shout out. Either relating to what we talked about or something completely unrelated. But you're free to give a little soapbox speech the way I did it about Cutie, I guess. Just whatever you want to talk about for a little bit, whatever you want to shout out. Go ahead, Magical.
Watch twitch.tv/Challengers League or twitch.tv/Path to LCS for awesome LCS Challengers League content. You can also follow Path to LCS on Twitter at Path to LCS. We post amazing content there. And what other sellout things can I say?
That was like someone had a gun to your head. They were like,
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
Path,
hashtag
watch
ad.
Path to LCS and Challengers League, and it's great content.
Oh, also,
And I love Riot
make
Games.
make sure you tweet out with the hashtag NACL if you want to have your tweets featured and join the conversation. You can also go into the chat and spam the team that you think is going to win each game, and it is great fun.
True. That is great fun. Where can
I think
people
I
find
see
you,
a single
Magical?
tear coming down his eye.
Yeah, you can follow me, I guess, on mad_magical if you want.
Cool.
You don't have to.
And William?
Yep, I am William. I'm in my apartment, and you can follow me on Twitter at William_F08 because somebody took the one without the underscore.
Mine
But yeah,
too.
I just do. Yes. What are
I
these
thought you
people
were gonna say
doing
someone
out
took
here
William
taking
F
stuff?
zero. Someone took William F07. I was like,
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that would have been absolutely based. But yeah, I don't really do much outside of just I attend a lot of events. So if you see me at an event, please say hello. I know a lot of people are very introverted and don't want to say hello. If you meet me, I'm sorry because I am one of the biggest extroverts that you'll meet at an esports event, and I will make sure that if you are scared to talk to an esports person, a player or somebody, I will make sure you are going to meet them by the end of the day. So if
Dude,
you're nervous, don't talk to me.
I saw William like every time I went to LCS, like before I started getting super involved. And like so before we probably knew each other on Twitter. And I was like, damn, that guy's so cool, but I'm never gonna talk to him. And I didn't talk to anybody. Like the
That's-
first 4 or 5 times I went to LCS, I didn't talk to anybody. I would just go there, sit, watch the games completely by myself, and then leave. And I was like, damn, this is not fun. And I was like, oh, you're supposed to go with friends. Oh.
I
yeah,
mean,
but-
well, actually, I do go with friends now because I made friends at the LCS. So
Hey.
Yeah, see, but
easy.
I couldn't even accomplish that because I like see people. I'm like, damn, that guy looks cool. I'm not gonna talk to him though. But yeah,
I usually scare people off by
William
just
is
yelling really
William
loud.
is terrific.
I do
at
probably
events.
scare people off at the studio.
You are
so
also,
I'm
like,
sorry
very
if you're scared
tall.
of me. Yeah, I am only a little 6'4" midget, so yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Hey,
a little, just a
same.
little tall.
Hey,
Yeah.
same.
It's
6'4"
weird when I have to
gang.
like because I don't normally have to like look up to people. It's normally like a little bit above my height or like not above my height. But like people like Fudge and William, I'm like, what's up?
Yeah, I do. One funny last thing about Fudge because I love hanging out with Fudge so much.
But it's great.
Every time I see him, he calls it a double cannon wave when we stand next to each other. When I
Nice.
went to spring finals last year, we took a picture and Blabber was mad because he's obviously like
Way
to, like,
shorter.
way
funny.
shorter than me, and he called it a double cannon wave when we stood with the team. So that was pretty funny.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been NAmen episode 22. Thank you so much to our 2 special guests, Magical and William. I'll see you guys next time.